In a time when the odds were in extreme opposition against women, especially black women, there emerged a figure who refused to accept the limitations of her time. She wasn't born into wealth, privilege, or power. Her journey began in a small, humble cabin in Louisiana, where life offered no promises of prosperity. But from the depths of poverty, Sarah Breedlove rose to become Madam C.J. Walker, the first black female self-made millionaire in America. Imagine this. We're in the year 1867, and Sarah Breedlove was born to formerly enslaved parents, just 2 years after emancipation from slavery. She was the first child in her family who was born into freedom, but it was a freedom that was polluted with the harsh realities of the Reconstruction era. She knew suffering intimately as she became an orphan at the age of 7. During her early teens, she was married, not out of love, but to escape the abuses of poverty. By 20, she was a widow with a young daughter to raise on her own. These were the realities Sarah was made to face. Realities that were designed to break her spirit, to keep her in the shadows of society's hierarchy. But she refused to be defined by her circumstances. Instead, she saw an opportunity within her struggles. When she began losing her hair due to stress, malnutrition, and poor quality hair care products available to black women, what could have been a crippling blow became her opportunity to rise. Sarah turned her struggle into an opportunity to innovate, rather than giving up hope. At a time when society placed little value on the needs or dreams of black women, Sarah decided to place value on herself, and also on other black women like herself. What happened afterward was not just the creation of a hair care product, but the birth of a movement that empowered countless black women to reclaim their confidence, independence, and identity. Madam C.J. Walker wasn't just a name, it became a symbol and a voice. She transformed the idea of beauty and hair care into a revolutionary act. By creating products specifically for black women, she defied societal norms and influenced how the world perceived black beauty. But Walker's vision didn't stop there. She didn't simply want to sell products, she wanted to build an entire community. She trained and employed thousands of women and gave them the tools to become financially independent in a time when opportunities were scarce. Yet, Madam Walker's impact went far beyond the borders of her factories. She was a philanthropist, an activist, and a pioneer who championed civil rights and black economic independence. Her donations to organizations like the NAACP and her speeches where she advocated for racial equality were as much a part of her legacy as her hair care empire. But let's not forget that the journey to success was nothing close to being easy. Madam Walker faced severe racism, sexism, and personal challenges that would have won the best of her. She was mocked, doubted, and underestimated at every point, and yet she remained steadfast, not for herself alone, but for every black woman who dared to dream of a better life. Madam C.J. Walker once said, "I had to make my living and my opportunity, but I made it. And because I made it, I want to say to every black woman in America that you can make it too." Those aren't just words, they're a declaration of hope, resilience, and empowerment that continue to resonate over a century later. Like this video, as we journey to uncover the extraordinary life of Madam C.J. Walker. This is beyond being just a story about wealth. It's a story of transformation, of overcoming insurmountable odds, and of building a legacy that still inspires generations. Walker's life is a testament to what is possible when courage meets opportunity. How she rose from nothing to build an empire, how she fought against systemic barriers, and how she left a legacy that continues to influence black entrepreneurship and culture is a testament that blew everyone's mind. This is the story of a woman who didn't just change her own life, she changed the world for countless others. This is the incredible journey of Madam C.J. Walker, the first black female self-made millionaire. Madam C.J. Walker's remarkable story began long before she became a millionaire and a symbol of success. Sarah Breedlove was born on December 23, 1867, in Delta, Louisiana. She entered the world at a time of profound change and severe inequality. Her parents, Owen and Minerva Breedlove, were formerly enslaved, still trying to find their feet after the American Civil War. still struggling with the legacy of slavery. For many, including the Breedloves, life was characterized by excruciating poverty and relentless racial discrimination. The Breedlove family worked as sharecroppers, which was a system that promised freedom but often reflected the exploitation of slavery. They labored on the cotton fields, barely scraping by as they contended against the unfair practices of landowners who kept them perpetually in debt. Sarah's earliest memories were dominated by hard labor, long hours, and the constant threat of violence that hovered over Black lives in the South. At just 7 years old, tragedy struck. Both of Sarah's parents fell into a yellow fever epidemic, which made Sarah become an orphan. Suddenly, the stability of even her miserly life was shattered. Sarah was sent to live with her older sister Luvania alone and vulnerable, and her brother-in-law as well. But life in her sister's household was far from being good. The environment was harsh, and Sarah endured both emotional and physical turbulence. Her brother-in-law was reportedly abusive, making her living conditions unbearable. This period marked the beginning of Sarah's lifelong resilience. At the tender age of 14, she made a life-altering decision. She got married to Moses McWilliams, not for love, but to escape the cruelty of her home life. By 17, Sarah had her first and only child, Lelia, who would later be known as Alelia Walker. Motherhood added a new layer of responsibility to her already drowning life. Unfortunately, the brief respite of her marriage was cut short when Moses died in 1887, just 2 years later, making Sarah a widow at the young age of 20. Sarah faced an uncertain and daunting future, alone with a young daughter to care for. Sarah moved to St. Louis, Missouri, where her brothers had established themselves as barbers, desperate to provide for herself and Lelia. St. Louis, a growing industrial city at the time, offered more opportunities than rural Louisiana. But for a young Black woman, the challenges were so severe. Sarah took on work as a laundress, scrubbing clothes by hand for wealthy white families. It was a grueling, back-breaking labor that often paid as little as $1.50 a week, which was barely enough to cover her and her daughter's necessities. But Sarah persevered, determined to keep her daughter fed and clothed. She later reflected on this period, saying, "I was at my tubs, washing clothes for people, earning barely enough to keep the wolf from the door." Despite the exhausting nature of her work, Sarah was resourceful and hardworking. She saved whatever she could, dreaming of a better life for herself and Lelia. She also began attending church regularly, where she found solace and inspiration. The church community in St. Louis played a vital role in Sarah's development. They offered her a network of support and exposed her to the ideas of self-improvement and Black empowerment. But the physical toll of her life was undeniable. Years of hard labor, coupled with poor nutrition and the stress of constant poverty, began to manifest unexpectedly. Sarah started losing her hair. For a Black woman, hair was more than just appearance. It was a source of identity and pride. Hair loss was a devastating blow. It was a clear reminder of the struggles that had weighed her down for years. Amidst this personal crisis, Sarah sought various solutions. She experimented with home remedies and tried products that were available in the market, but many of these products were not designed for Black-haired individuals and often caused more harm than good. Her frustration with these products planted the seeds of what would later become her empire. Sarah's second marriage was to John Davis, a man she hoped would provide stability for her and her daughter. However, this relationship proved tumultuous. Davis was unsupportive of her ambitions and reportedly struggled with personal demons, including infidelity. The marriage ended in divorce, marking a turning point in Sarah's journey toward independence. During this time, Sarah also crossed paths with Annie Turnbow Malone, who was another pioneering Black businesswoman who was revolutionizing hair care for African Americans. Malone's success was an inspiration to Sarah. Her success was a demonstration of what was possible with determination and vision. Sarah worked as a sales agent for Malone's company Poro, where she gained valuable experience in the world of business and sales. This period became a turning point in Sarah's life. Amidst the adversity, it was here that she began to see the possibility of something greater. The challenges she faced, poverty, hair loss, and limited opportunities, became the foundation for her entrepreneurial spirit. Sarah often spoke about how her struggles influenced her character and fueled her ambition. She later said, "There is no royal flower-strewn path to success, and if there is, I have not found it." "If I have accomplished anything in life, it is because I have been willing to work hard." By the time Sarah Breedlove left St. Louis, she was no longer just a washerwoman or a widow struggling to make ends meet. She was a woman who had a vision to create a better life for herself and her daughter, and also to uplift other Black women who, like her, had been told that success was beyond their reach. Her early life was filled with challenges that could have easily broken her spirit. But instead of succumbing to despair, Sarah Breedlove transformed her pain into purpose, laying the groundwork for the incredible legacy that would follow. In her own words, Sarah said, "I got my start by giving myself a start." It was in these early struggles that she planted the seeds of the empire that would one day make her a household name, Madam C.J. Walker. Just like every great story, it has a turning point. A moment when adversity sparks innovation, when hardship transforms into opportunity. For Sarah Breedlove, the moment came in the form of a personal and deeply distressing challenge: hair loss. By the early 1900s, Sarah's hair had started to fall out in massive amounts. Years of grueling labor, poor nutrition, and the stress of her circumstances had taken a toll on her body and her scalp. Hair was a pivotal part of the Black woman's identity and appearance, just like Sarah. It contributed to their pride and confidence. Losing her hair was a deeply emotional experience, one that could have easily eroded her self-esteem. At the time, the options for treating hair loss among Black women were very limited. Many products on the market contained harsh chemicals that damaged Black hair and scalps. They were mainly meant for white women. The few products targeting Black women often came with harmful side effects, further aggravating the problem. Hair growth. The results were extraordinary. Not only did Sarah's hair begin to grow back, but she also experienced a renewed sense of confidence. Her success with the formula sparked a realization: if it could work for her, it could work for other women facing similar struggles. Sarah saw an opportunity to help herself and also empower other Black women to reclaim their confidence and identity. But Sarah's journey wasn't just about finding a product, it was also about understanding the power of her potential. Around this beyond selling products, she recognized that hair care was about more than just appearance. It was also an opportunity for empowerment. Black women in the early 20th century faced a constant barrage of societal messages, telling them they were inferior. Their hair, often viewed through the lens of Eurocentric beauty standards, became a source of discrimination. By developing products that celebrated and nurtured Black hair, Sarah saw an opportunity to challenge these narratives and redefine beauty for Black women. In 1905, Sarah moved to Denver, Colorado, where she decided to take a leap of Madam C.J. Walker, a nod to her husband but also a deliberate choice to project sophistication and authority. The title Madam was inspired by French tradition, giving her brand an air of elegance and professionalism. Her first product was the Madam Walker's Wonderful Hair Grower. It was a scalp treatment she claimed could restore hair growth and improve scalp health. She marketed it as a revolutionary product, one that was backed by her personal story of transformation. Madam Walker employed innovative marketing techniques to promote her product. She demonstrated her hair care methods in churches, community centers, and door-to-door visits, captivating audiences with her story and her results. She emphasized education, teaching women how to care for their hair and maintain healthy scalps. This personal touch set her apart from competitors and built trust with her customers. But Sarah didn't stop there. She began to train other women to become sales agents, giving them the tools to earn their income and gain financial independence. For many of these women, working for Madam Walker wasn't just a job. It was an opportunity to escape the cycle of poverty and reclaim their dignity. Madam Walker's business model was as much about empowerment as it was about profit. Word of mouth spread, and demand for her products grew rapidly as her efforts quickly paid off. Sarah's customer base expanded beyond Denver, reaching women across the country. Her formula resonated not just because it worked, but because it addressed a deeper need, a desire for representation, dignity, and self-worth. Madam Walker often said, "I am not merely satisfied in making money for myself. I am endeavoring to provide employment for hundreds of women of my race." Her vision was far larger than her business. She wanted to uplift Black women, and prove that success was possible, even in the face of systemic racism and sexism. Sarah's ambition grew as her business grew. She traveled extensively, promoting her products and recruiting sales agents. She developed a system she called the Walker Method, which combined her products with a hair care routine that emphasized cleanliness, scalp health, and proper styling. The method became a cornerstone of her brand, further solidifying her reputation as a pioneer in black hair care. By 1908, Madam Walker opened her first factory in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, where she also established a beauty school to train her sales agents. Beyond being a business, it was a movement, one that gave black women the voice to take control of their own lives. Madam Walker's success was also about the confidence she restored in her customers and the opportunities she created for her agents. She took a personal struggle and turned it into a catalyst for change, proving that even the most challenging circumstances could be transformed into a powerful force for good. The discovery of her hair care formula wasn't just a turning point in Madam Walker's life. It was the beginning of a revolution in black beauty and entrepreneurship. What started as a response to her hair loss grew into a legacy that would empower generations of women to embrace their natural beauty, take pride in their heritage, and pursue their dreams with unrelenting determination. By 1906, Sarah Breedlove had already begun transforming herself into Madam C.J. Walker, a name that became synonymous with success, empowerment, and black excellence. Madam Walker's entrepreneurial journey officially began when she decided to establish her own company, the Madam C.J. Walker Manufacturing Company. This decision wasn't made lightly. It was a bold move that required courage, determination, and the willingness to step out of her comfort zone. This decision was a simple yet profound idea that was influenced by a thought. Black women deserved products that were made for them, by someone who understood their struggles, their needs, and their beauty. Madam Walker's husband, Charles Joseph Walker, played a crucial role in the early stages of her business. Charles had a background in advertising and marketing, which enabled him to help Madam Walker craft a brand identity that would appeal to her target audience. He encouraged her to use her image on her products, positioning her as both the creator and the ideal customer. This was a revolutionary marketing strategy for the time, as it put a black woman front and center in a society that often sought to erase black voices and visibility. Their partnership extended to promotional efforts as well. Charles helped Madam Walker design advertisements, write promotional copy, and create compelling campaigns. They traveled across the country together, hosting demonstrations, visiting churches, and speaking to women's groups. These efforts weren't just about selling products, they were about building relationships and creating a sense of community. Madam Walker's husband Charles initially supported her endeavors, helping her design advertisements and navigate the business world. However, as her success grew, tensions in their marriage began to erupt. Charles struggled with Madam Walker's rising independence and the demands of her growing empire. The couple eventually divorced in 1912, but Madam Walker kept the name that had become central to her brand. Each of her marriages brought its lessons, shaping her resilience and uplifting her belief in self-reliance. Alelia Walker, her daughter, played an integral role in her personal life. The bond between mother and daughter was strong, but it was also complex. Alelia grew up witnessing her mother's tireless work ethic and ambition. As Madam Walker's business empire expanded, Alelia became more involved in the company, serving as a trusted confidant and eventual heir. Alelia was known for her vibrant personality and her love of the arts. While Madam Walker's focus was on building a business empire and uplifting black women, Alelia used her wealth and influence to foster creativity and celebrate black culture. Despite their close bond, the relationship between Madam Walker and Alelia had its challenges. Madam Walker often worried about her daughter's lavish lifestyle and her tendency to indulge in the high society circles of New York City. Alelia, in turn, sometimes found it difficult to meet the expectations of her formidable mother. However, their mutual love and respect ultimately strengthened their relationship. Madam Walker often said that everything she did was for Alelia, and she took great pride in her daughter's accomplishments. In return, Alelia carried on her mother's legacy, ensuring that the Walker name remained synonymous with excellence and empowerment. Madam Walker's factory was a symbol of progress and possibility. For the first time, Madam Walker had a space dedicated entirely to her vision, a place where she could control every aspect of production and ensure the quality of her products. The beauty school is known as the Lelia College of Beauty Culture. This was equally a groundbreaking initiative. Lelia Walker was named after her daughter. The school wasn't just a training ground for hair care professionals, but also a hub for education, empowerment, and opportunity. Madam Walker used the school to train her sales agents, teaching them not only how to use and sell her products, but also how to care for their customers and build lasting relationships. The agents who were trained at Lelia College became the backbone of Madam Walker's business. These women were more than salespeople. They were known as Walker agents. They were ambassadors of Madam Walker's vision. They traveled to communities across the United States, demonstrating the Walker method and sharing Madam Walker's message of empowerment. For many of these women, becoming a Walker agent was a life-changing opportunity. It gave them financial independence, professional training, and a sense of purpose. Madam Walker's ability to create opportunities for others was one of the defining features of her business. She understood that her success was tied to the success of the women who worked for her, and she made it a priority to uplift and empower them. This was a radical approach in an era when opportunities for Black women were scarce, and it set the Madam C.J. Walker Manufacturing Company apart from other businesses. One of Madam Walker's most innovative strategies was her focus on direct sales. At a time when traditional retail channels were often closed to Black entrepreneurs, Madam Walker built a network of sales agents who could reach customers directly. This approach allowed her to bypass the barriers of segregation and discrimination, creating a business model that was both effective and empowering. Her direct sales strategy was supported by a robust marketing campaign that emphasized the transformative power of her products. Madam Walker's advertisements featured testimonials from satisfied customers, many of whom praised her products for restoring their hair and their confidence. These testimonials were powerful endorsements that resonated with her target audience, helping to build trust and credibility. But Madam Walker didn't rely solely on traditional advertising. She was a master of personal branding, and she used her own story to connect with her customers. She often appeared in her advertisements, showcasing her hair and emphasizing the results she had achieved with her products. This strategy highlighted the effectiveness of her products and also positioned Madam Walker as a relatable and inspiring figure. By 1910, the Madam C.J. Walker Manufacturing Company was booming. Madam Walker had moved her operations to Indianapolis, Indiana, where she built a state-of-the-art factory and headquarters. The new location was strategically chosen for its central location and transportation networks, which made it easier to distribute her products across the nation. The Indianapolis headquarters became the heart of Madam Walker's empire. The facility included offices, manufacturing spaces, and a training center for Walker agents, all designed to reflect Madam Walker's commitment to quality, professionalism, and empowerment. Madam Walker's decision to move to Indianapolis was a reflection of her broader vision for her business. She wanted the Madam C.J. Walker Manufacturing Company to be a force for change. By establishing her headquarters in a major city, she positioned herself as a leader in both the business world and the broader fight for social and economic justice. She took the personal struggle of her hair loss and transformed it into a catalyst for empowerment and change. But as impressive as her business achievements were, Madam Walker's impact went far beyond the products she sold. Madam Walker proved that Black women could succeed on their terms, even in a society that sought to marginalize and exclude them. The new headquarters in Indiana became a symbol of innovation and progress, a place where dreams were turned into reality, and where Black women were given the tools to rewrite their narratives. Madam Walker ensured that her products were created with meticulous care and the highest quality standards. Unlike many businesses of the era that outsourced production or relied on generic formulations, Madam Walker took control of every aspect of the manufacturing process. This allowed her to maintain consistency, build trust with her customers, and continuously refine her offerings based on feedback from users. The sales agents who worked for her company weren't just earning money. They were learning valuable skills in marketing, public speaking, and financial management. Walker agents were carefully trained to demonstrate and sell the products, but also to embody the principles of professionalism and pride that Madam Walker valued deeply. This emphasis on self-empowerment was a revolutionary idea in the early 20th century. For many of the women Madam Walker employed, this was their first chance to break free from domestic labor or sharecropping jobs that offered little dignity or financial security. By becoming Walker agents, they entered a world of possibility where their work directly benefited their communities and themselves. One of the most remarkable aspects of Madam Walker's company was its commitment to philanthropy and activism. As the business grew, its role in addressing the social and economic challenges faced by Black communities also grew. Madam Walker used her wealth and influence to support a wide range of causes, from funding scholarships for young Black students to donating to organizations like the NAACP and the YMCA. Her philanthropy was not an afterthought, but a major central focus of her mission. She often said, "I am not satisfied in making money for myself. I endeavor to employ hundreds of women of my race." This philosophy extended to her employees, her community, and the broader fight for civil rights. In 1913, Madam Walker took her business global, traveling to the Caribbean and Central America to expand her brand. This was a bold move that highlighted her vision and ambition. She saw untapped potential in markets where Black women faced similar struggles with hair care and identity. These international trips weren't just about business. They were also about fostering connections with diasporic communities and understanding their unique challenges and aspirations. During these travels, Madam Walker worked tirelessly to establish new distribution channels and train agents in places like Jamaica, Haiti, and Panama. She immersed herself in local cultures, ensuring that her products and her message resonated with the women she sought to empower. This global perspective set her apart from other entrepreneurs of her time, highlighting her ability to think beyond borders and embrace the universality of her mission. As her business empire expanded, Madam Walker never lost sight of her commitment to excellence. She continued to invest in research and development. She hired chemists and other professionals to refine her products and develop new solutions. This commitment to quality was one of the reasons her brand lasted in the industry, even as competition in the hair care industry grew. In 1917, Madam Walker's business had reached unprecedented heights. She convened the first-ever National Convention of Walker Agents. It was a groundbreaking event that brought hundreds of women from across the United States together. This convention was more than just a business meeting. It was a celebration of Black excellence, unity, and empowerment. The convention also highlighted Madam Walker's commitment to transparency and collaboration. She invited feedback from her agents, listening to their experiences and incorporating their ideas into her business strategy. This inclusive approach fostered a sense of loyalty and shared purpose among her workforce, making the Madam C.J. Walker Manufacturing Company was more than just a business. It was a movement that was rooted in community and mutual support. Her activism cuts across her business practices as well. She made a conscious effort to hire and promote Black women by creating opportunities in an era when such opportunities were scarce. She also supported Black-owned businesses, understanding the importance of economic solidarity in the fight for racial equality. In her later years, Madam Walker's personal life was marked by a sense of reflection and legacy building. She purchased a lavish estate in Irvington, New York, which was known as Villa Lawaro. The Villa Lawaro was the first licensed Black architect in New York. It was designed by Vertner Tandy. The estate was a symbol of her success and a testament to what could be achieved through hard work and determination. Villa Lawaro wasn't just a home, but a statement. Madam Walker envisioned it as a place where Black leaders could gather to strategize and collaborate. She wanted the estate to inspire others to dream bigger and to see the possibilities beyond the limitations imposed by society. Madam Walker was also a fierce advocate for civil rights. Her influence became a cultural and societal force. She used her platform to speak out against lynching, one of the most brutal happenings of racial violence during her time. In 1917, she donated $1,000, the equivalent of over $25,000 today, to the NAACP's anti-lynching fund. This significant contribution made headlines, exposing the urgent need for justice and equality. The scope of Madam Walker's impact was further amplified by her ability to build networks of collaboration. She maintained relationships with some of the most prominent black leaders of her time, like Booker T. Washington and W.E.B. Du Bois. While she didn't always agree with their approaches, her ability to navigate these relationships demonstrated her diplomatic skills and her unwavering commitment to the advancement of the race. The impact of Madam Walker's work can be seen in the way she redefined what it meant to be a successful black woman in America. She shattered glass ceilings at a time when racial and gender barriers seemed insurmountable. Her journey inspired countless others to pursue their dreams, showing that with determination, vision, and resilience, anything was possible. One of the most inspiring aspects of Madam Walker's work was her understanding that lasting change required collective effort. Madam Walker had a personal approach to leadership. She led with empathy and purpose, always keeping the needs of her community at the forefront. She was known for her hands-on involvement in her company, often traveling extensively to meet with her agents and customers. As her influence grew, Madam Walker became a highly sought-after speaker and thought leader. Even as she achieved remarkable success, Madam Walker remained deeply grounded in her roots. She never forgot the struggles she went through as a poor washerwoman, and she carried those experiences with her as a constant reminder of why her work mattered. Her humility and authenticity resonated with people. This made her a beloved figure within the black community. The Walker agents, known as Walker Beauticians, were more than employees. They became ambassadors of empowerment. Madam Walker trained them not only in hairstyling and sales, but also in public speaking, financial literacy, and community engagement. This innovative approach turned her sales force into a network of leaders who were equipped to uplift their communities. Madam Walker's impact on black society and her community remains one of the most profound aspects of her story. One of her earliest philanthropic efforts was her financial support for schools, orphanages, and black churches. She believed that education and spiritual guidance were critical tools for uplifting the race. Her contributions to historically black colleges and universities, HBCUs like Tuskegee Institute and Bethune-Cookman College, demonstrated her commitment to education as a pathway to empowerment. Madam Walker didn't just write checks. She actively engaged with these institutions, ensuring that her contributions were maximized to fulfill their impact. Her activism wasn't confined to financial donations. Madam Walker was deeply involved in grassroots efforts to organize and advocate for black rights. She used her company conventions as platforms to discuss social justice issues, encouraging her sales agents to be active in their communities. These gatherings were spaces where black women were encouraged to see themselves not just as business people, but also as change makers who could influence the trajectory of their communities. She remained deeply committed to giving back to society, using her wealth to support education, civil rights, and other causes close to her heart. Her philanthropy was an extension of her philosophy, to uplift others and create opportunities for those who came after her. In 1919, Madam Walker passed away. Before she passed away, her company had already employed thousands of people, generated millions in revenue, and touched the lives of countless individuals. But her impact was far beyond the figures. She had created a blueprint for black entrepreneurship, demonstrating the possibility of succeeding on one's terms while building others along the way. Her daughter, Alelia, wasn't just interested in maintaining the family business. She was dedicated to furthering her mother's vision. She became a prominent figure in Harlem during the Renaissance, turning the Walker legacy into a cultural institution. At her family home, known as the Alelia Walker House, she welcomed artists, musicians, writers, and activists from across the black community. It was here that Walker's legacy evolved into more than a beauty empire. It became a vibrant cultural hub that celebrated black excellence in all its forms. But Alelia did not continue her mother's philanthropic and entrepreneurial vision alone. She achieved this with a close circle of Walker agents, many of whom had risen through the ranks under Madam Walker's guidance, keeping the spirit of the business alive. They became community leaders, educators, and advocates for economic empowerment. The Madam C.J. Walker Manufacturing Company was a symbol of what could be achieved through determination, innovation, and a deep commitment to the community. It was a testament to Madam Walker's belief that beauty and empowerment go hand in hand, and that every woman deserves the opportunity to define her destiny. In modern culture, Madam C.J. Walker has been portrayed in various depictions, from biographies to film adaptations. In 2020, the limited series Self-Made on Netflix, starring Octavia Spencer, introduced new audiences to Madam Walker's remarkable story. The show captured the essence of her journey, her resilience, ambition, and relentless drive to succeed. Madam Walker's story has also traveled beyond American borders. Her life serves as an international example of resilience and innovation, particularly within the African diaspora. From the Caribbean to Africa, Walker's impact resonates deeply. Her products, which were once sold exclusively to Black Americans, became a symbol of empowerment for Black women across the globe. Her story teaches us that resilience, innovation, and the power of community are universal truths. Her life was a testament to the idea that wealth is not just about what you accumulate, but about what you leave behind, both in terms of tangible goods and in the impact you make on others. Madam Walker's wealth didn't just build a business, it created a movement that transcended generations. Her story continues to inspire and teach us all that true success is not measured by what we have, but by how much we've given, how deeply we've connected, and how effectively we've left the world better than we found it. Even today, Madam Walker's legacy continues to inspire entrepreneurs, activists, and dreamers around the world. Her story is a reminder that success is not just about personal gain, but about using one's talents and resources to make a difference, uplift others, and make the world a better place.